And then I want to introduce Dane Wiseman, Director of Marketing at AirPR. Dane's also going to go through some of the fundamentals, the practicals, and how they help their clients with measurement. Dane?
Thank you, Todd, and thank you, Deirdre. And on the screen now, you should all be seeing the first slide to the next section of the webinar. So as we're looking at how do we drive decisions with data. So the first step that I just want to take here is reinforcing what Deirdre said, where we need to set up, as practitioners, specific frameworks in order to measure our campaigns. So when we're looking at a specific campaign example, and as I walk through these slides, the example that I'm actually going to use, Deirdre, sorry, I didn't ask permission beforehand, but I'll use AirPR practices as an example use case as we go through here. So as we actually look at a site, and we're setting up a site, or we have a business objective and we have a goal, if we're looking at an individual site, we're going to go ahead and state what our goals and objectives are. So as we go through these goals and objectives for a publishing site like AirPR practices, we can set up a framework that's specific to our ability to track, one, our inbound site visitors. We can actually track the behavior on the site, and then also we can look at how often those pieces of content are downloaded. So as Deirdre mentioned, if we go to the site, if we download those resources, as the publisher and as the site owner, we have in our arsenal of technology and tools and capabilities the ability to track that content, to track that activity. So even if you were using a free analytics tool like Google Analytics, you could bring up your real-time dashboard right now as AirPRpractices.com. And as many of us are probably taking a look at that site or opened a separate tab, we can see those sessions in real time. We could also check the amount of downloads and near real time and see how people are interacting with that content as we go. Now, to step back into the presentation here and just to reintroduce myself. So I'm the Director of Marketing at AirPR, and AirPR is a PR tech company that provides analytics, insights, and measurement solutions for the PR industry. As we start looking at the overall framework of this discussion, we're going to go through a use case looking at a specific audience. So the one we're looking at right now are the audiences and attendance of today's webinar. So we're looking at AirPRpractices.com. We'll then investigate our campaign goals and objectives. We'll look at various strategies and tactics. We'll talk about something that's really exciting for the PR industry. That's our ability to implement tags and various conversion tracking sets across numerous different platforms. So as we're all seeing, there are dozens of PR technologies. There are thousands of other technologies out there. It's sometimes hard to make sense of what works best for me. However, we'll go through some of the myths surrounding that and take a look at the various PR techs out there. On the measurement, KPIs and metrics, there are hundreds of metrics. It's really going into what metrics are important to you. So if we're looking at AirPRpractices.com, what's important to us is interactions with the site, the number of downloads of that content. So as we're working through and setting up our framework of measurement, that's the ultimate goal that we want to track back to. It's very important to know. It's very important that we have a specific goal to track to. Then we'll talk about optimization and then reports and dashboards. So when we're looking at targeting our audience, there are many ways for us to research with free tools who our audience might be, where they might be located. We can use free tools, and even if you go into, say, Twitter advertising or Facebook advertising or even LinkedIn, there are many forecasting tools within those technologies that give us accurate insight or fairly accurate insights into how many people belong to a specific group or have a specific job title or are in a specific region. So social networks give us a lot of free and publicly available data into our target audiences. So I highly recommend leveraging some of those free tools just for audience insights and identifying your market size. If we go on to establishing goals and objectives, you should always start out and pause before launching a campaign or starting an endeavor. What are your actual business goals? As Deirdre mentioned, some of the key ones that we have out there, we can do transaction signups, we can do even site engagement. If we're a publisher without a clear transaction or subscription, maybe we want time on site or pages viewed. With our awareness campaigns, maybe we're looking at reach and how our message resonates with our target audience. Going down to our example strategy. So these are just some example strategies that we could look at. These are, again, examples. The strategy component, that goes into the campaign planning. So perhaps for our AirPRpractices.com, one of our key strategies might be to publish stories and place links back to that specific piece of content. So one, we want to gain perhaps backlinks to our content, so we gain page authority and site authority for SEO. We may want to increase our downloads by sharing this within the PR community, and there are many different ways of going about that. So within those given strategies, we're then presented with various tactics. Now, this is a great diagram of tactics from Spin Sucks. And when we look at the PESO model, there's a lot of great tactics across paid, earned, shared, and owned. So there's a lot of great ways for you to position the activities that roll up into your strategy and objectives. When we're looking at the overall technology landscape, it's pretty crazy. So I don't know if you've seen this diagram before or if you choose to zoom in, but this is from Chief Martech. There are thousands of technologies, I think 3,000 plus, the last count, across various functions for PR and marketing. Now, if you were to zoom in on each of those sections, those go into maybe PR, or they go into analytics, or they go into visual storytelling. So there's a lot of different tool sets out there for you to add to your goals to your strategies and tactics in order to accomplish your goals. Really, when you look at these technologies, and even if you drill down into this PR tech ecosystem that we now have, you're able to see exactly what technologies best suit your brand and best suit your efforts. And that's really one of the exciting points about PR today, is that we have a lot of technology at our fingertips and within our grasp that allow us to access data points that we never before had. It allows us to pull in that public data from web sources, from digital sources. It allows us to combine all of that with new and exciting metrics, like tying that with Google Analytics data and allowing us to tie in site data to our actual PR activities. So it's a very exciting time on the technology side, and that gives us access to new ways of measuring the performance of our campaigns. So when we're looking at an actual PR metrics funnel from top to bottom, perhaps we're starting with that awareness and impression layer, where we're seeing how far is our message actually reaching. Then we're seeing who is engaging with that metric. And ultimately, the key point that we're trying to make is what actual decisions or conversions are being made against those activities. So that's really what these new PR technologies are allowing us to do. They're allowing us to track across dozens, if not thousands or millions of networks, websites, social profiles to see, did our reach and our message actually resonate with this audience, so they went back to our site and completed a desired action. That's really the importance of what we do today. From a overall bucketing standpoint, so putting different segments to our metrics, one thing I would encourage you to do is research a terminology called segments. And segments allow you to separate your audience types. So perhaps you want to create a segment within your reporting, within your structure for brand. Here is our branded traffic, and here's what they did. Their conversion rates are going to be much higher than non-branded or from paid ads. So in creating these segments, it allows you to set proper expectations around your projections, around that audience, and around your ability to deliver on what you promised or what you told the C-suite. So it's important to set those proper expectations as they pertain to different audience types. On the optimization side, so this is just a step process for you to look at. It usually starts with strategy. I highlighted the tactics in that your strategy may remain similar, but your tactics in going about it may change dramatically as you go through with various activities. You have your measurement framework in place, so as long as you're tracking, as long as you have conversion tracking in place and the ability to set up goals and events on your website, you can actually just go through this process. Here's the strategy we propose. Here are the tactics we're going to take, and here are the results. We then take our findings and our insights and then start over again. Now it's time for us to work through that process again. That's the exciting thing, and the reason why I love analytics and measurement is our ability to set up a framework, to track what we do, and to keep at it. We can constantly improve our campaigns and constantly see those increases in engagement rate, conversion rate, actual revenue coming into the company. And with all of these new technologies, we can see that in near real time. And lastly, I just wanted to include the dashboard component. Deirdre had a really awesome scorecard on there. So the ability for us to pull in reports, various widgets, put everything into one singular dashboard, one place that we have a dashboard for our C-suite, we have a dashboard for our directors, we have a dashboard for our team members, and anyone else who wants to collaborate and share in the results for our success. On the agency side, too, these are the reports that we share with clients. So it's very important for us to structure data so it makes sense. And PR practitioners, it's from a storytelling component, this is already ingrained. This is a skill set that is had where we know how to tell a story. So as long as you take this data, apply it to visualizations, you're the champions of telling that story. And yeah, so that's what I have. I've left some PR resources on here too. So all of these PR resources are, this document will be available for download, and then you can click on some of these recommended resources as well. And yeah, thank you so much, and back to you, Todd.
All right, Dane, thanks. And you're not going anywhere yet. We're not letting you off the hook until the top of the hour.
No, I'm still here. No,
all right,
I'm still here.
I wanted to tick off, some of our attendees asked a couple questions for you. First, what do you mean by data-driven decisions?
Absolutely. So when we start looking at data-driven decisions, that's actually basing our next steps or our strategies and our tactics off of data, off of quantitative metrics, or maybe even quantitative or qualitative too, where if we have a specific channel or a specific outlet that's performing well for us, those are the decisions that we make to continue on with them or not, right? So if a channel doesn't work, can we fix it? Can we recommend new solutions, or have we exhausted all of our efforts for that particular channel?
Great. And Dane, I'll ask you the same thing. Is there a piece of gold you can offer to our attendees as a parting gift for spending an hour with us today?
So I would recommend that everyone forms a routine specific to measurement or your research or practice in measurement. And it can just be 5 or 10 minutes a day. I know Google Analytics has a free demo account. There's a lot of great resources. There's free technologies. There's, as you saw today on the screen, thousands of tool sets out there. So think of it almost like a measurement gym membership. And even if you don't go for the hour or so, go for 10 minutes a day, form a routine, start incorporating it into what you do from a day-to-day standpoint, and even if it's automating a report that sends to you or setting up an alert, it's a really cool way just to see how fascinating measurement can be. It's something that I've been drawn to, and I think it's a measure of success, and it's something that will help you in your professional careers.